Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 24th of December and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. The first is India State of Forest Report 2023. This is a biennial report released once in 2 years by the Forest Survey of India. This tells us about the forest cover and the tree cover in the country. Fortunately, both of these have increased for the country. The benchmark year 2005, since then we've added around 2.4 billion tons of carbon sink in our forests, which is very much near to our target which we have kept as per the NDCs, that is 2.5 to 3 gigatons. So we are going on the right path when it is related with the forest and the tree cover in the country. Second is center is cautious upon the free trade agreements to safeguard the farmers and the MSMEs. Free trade agreements aim at reducing or making the tariffs zero for international trade. But these zero tariffs or reduced tariffs can lead to increased flooding of goods from other countries into India, thereby, negating or neglecting the goods produced by our domestic farmers or MSMEs. So FTAs are good, but yes, government is cautious because this can lead to the compromise of the interest of our domestic producers, whether it be farmers or MSMEs. The next is Dinga virus. This is a new kind of virus which has been, found in Uganda. Around 300 females have been, under the influence of this virus. Their body is shaking. They're having high fever. They're having, cough, runny noses, headaches. These are the symptoms. As of now, no specific cure has been found, but yes, antibiotics are being administered. Much is not known about this virus also because the diagnostic reports are yet to come. But yes, a new kind of virus impacting the humans is here once again. Then we will be dealing with the MCQs based on these three topics, and we will be discussing the answers to the MCQs of yesterday. So the first, India State of the Forest Report 2023. This was released by the Minister of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, Mr. Bhupendra Yadav, and this was released in the Forest Research Institute. This is released biannually by the Forest Survey of India since 1987, and it presents in-depth assessment of India's forest resources using remote sensing technology. Now, key highlights: mangrove cover 4992 square kilometers. Mangroves are found in the shore areas or shorelines. They are, very much important, and it has increased from the previous assessment. Bamboo bearing area 1,54,670 square kilometers, an increase of 5227 square kilometers in the bamboo bearing areas. Carbon stock in forest. Carbon stock simply means that how much they are able to sink in the carbon. 7285.5 million tons, an increase of 81.5 million tons in the carbon stock from the previous assessment. So carbon sink is increasing in the country. This simply means that. This is some good news, for us as a country. Our economy is also growing and our forests are also growing. That is something which can be equated and noted. The key findings of this report: the total forest and tree cover in India is 8,27,357 square kilometers, which constitutes 25.17 of the country's total geographical area. Forest cover 715,343 square kilometers, which is 21.76 of the geographical area, and tree cover 1,12,014 square kilometers, that is 3.14% of the geographical area. So tree cover is the tree canopy and forest cover is total forest area where the trees are. So forest cover plus tree cover, that is actually the forest in the country, and it is 21.76 plus 3.41, somewhere around 24-25% of the area in India is forest. Target is 33%. Okay. Increase in cover from 2021 to 2023, there has been an increase of 1445 square kilometers in the total forest and tree cover compared to 2021 assessment. So increase in forest cover is also there, 156 square kilometers. Increase in tree cover is also there, 1289 square kilometers. So this is something which is substantial. Second key finding, the top states showing maximum increase in forest and tree cover, that is Chhattisgarh has shown 684 square kilometers of increase in forest and tree cover, followed by Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan. Top state means which state is having the largest forest and tree cover, that is Madhya Pradesh. Largest forest and tree cover area, that is 85,724 square kilometers, followed by Arunachal Pradesh, then Maharashtra. Top states by forest cover area, Madhya Pradesh, 77,000 square kilometers. Largest forest cover is there in Madhya Pradesh. States with highest percentage of forest cover in relation to geographical area. So let's suppose the area is 100 square kilometers, and out of 100 square kilometers, 40 square kilometers is covered by forest cover. So then we will say 40% area is forest area. So Lakshadweep has 91.33% as forest area. So that is the highest. Mizoram has 85.34, Andaman and Nicobar Islands has 81.62. States with UTs and forest cover above 33% of geographical area. 19 states and UTs have more than 33% of the geographical area under forest cover. Why 33%? Because this is the national target which we have set for ourselves. So presently 19 states and UTs have more than 33%. 8 states UTs, Mizoram, Lakshadweep, Andaman, Nicobar Islands, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya, they have more than 75% of forest cover. So out of these 19, 8 have more than 75%. Baki 19 have more than 33%. Growing stock, wood volume. The total growing stock of forest and trees outside forest in India is estimated at 6430 million cubic meters. Inside forest, 4479 million meter cube. Outside forest, 1951 million meter cube. Change in growing stock, increase in total growing stock is 262 million meter cube. Inside forest, 91 million meter cube has increased. Outside forest, 171 million meter cube has increased. Mangroves, they are found in the shorelines. Total mangrove cover 4992 square kilometers. This has also increased from the previous assessment. Bamboo bearing area is 1,54,670 square kilometers. This has also, uh, increased from the previous assessment. Timber protection potential. Timber is basically wood. The annual potential timber production from trees outside forest has been estimated at 91.51 million meter cube. Carbon stock. Total carbon stock in India's forest is estimated at 7285.5 million tons, which is 7.29 billion tons. There is an increase of 81.5 million tons compared to the previous assessment. So carbon stock is increasing, carbon sink is increasing. So carbon sequestration progress. So carbon stock has reached 30.43 billion tons of CO2 equivalent. If I count from 2005 onwards, so 2.29 billion tons of additional carbon sink has been added, which is very much close to 2.5 to 3 billion additional carbon sink which we pledged in the nationally determined contributions in the United Nations. So already 2.29 billion tons of carbon sink has been added. The target is 2.5 to 3 billion tons, which had to be added. Technological advances in forest management. The Forest Survey of India has incorporated advanced technology for near real-time forest fire alerts. This technology enhances the monitoring and management of forest fires in the country. These advanced tools help in detecting and mitigating the impact of forest fires, protecting the country's vast forest resources. Remote sensing technology is used. What is the significance of ISFR? It basically offers critical data about forest, tree cover, carbon stock, forest fire incidents, agroforestry, etc., etc. It helps the government in making policies with respect to forest conservation and all. It helps us assess that what is our progress towards achieving the intended nationally determined contributions. So they are very much vital for policy formulation, resource management, and sustainable development. That is the significance of ISFR. Next is, Center is cautious on free trade agreements to safeguard farmers and MSMEs. So free trade agreements, let me tell you friends, are those agreements which India signs with other countries or regional blocs, aiming to make the trade between them more competitive. More competitive, how the trade will become? The duties will reduce, the import and export duties, the tariffs will reduce or be zero. Now, when the duties and tariffs are zero, imports can also flood our markets. Okay, exports, so it depends on our capacities and capabilities. Imports can also be there and imports will be cheaper. What about the products being manufactured by the domestic farmer or the domestic MSMEs? Who will demand their products if the public is getting access to cheaper imported products due to free trade agreements? Now, this is where the government has to be cautious, and this is what this gentleman, Mr. S. Shankar, was saying in a speech in this particular summit called as the Bharat at the rate 100 summit. It seems very attractive that India has signed FTA with these many countries. We have increased the trade after signing the FTAs and all. But yes, trade deficits have also increased. Like, for example, ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement signed in 2010. Today, we have a substantial amount of trade with ASEAN countries, but yes, we are uh, having a trade deficit with them, and that trade deficit is rising. On top of that, China is taking undue advantage of this situation. How? See, we don't have a free trade agreement with China. So, China, whenever it sends goods to us, we can levy import duties, we can even increase the import duties. But if a free trade agreement would have been signed, we would not have that power to increase the free trade, to increase the tariffs, import duties and all. So what does China do? China, dumps goods into India via ASEAN countries. It does some labeling work and all in the ASEAN countries on its goods, and then exports those goods from those countries like Vietnam or Philippines then into India. And we have signed a free trade agreement with ASEAN countries, and Philippines and Vietnam are part of ASEAN. So we are levying very less import duty or no duty on them, and we don't have any opportunity to increase the import duty on them because there's a free trade agreement signed. So India is currently has assessed this situation, and India is saying by rules of origin we will have to apply, and this is what we are negotiating on these lines only with the ASEAN. So key points from External Affairs Minister's address: cautious approach to free trade agreements has to be there. Indian government has adopted careful approach to free trade agreements with the aim of protecting domestic sectors, particularly farmers and MSMEs. He explained that the government weighs the benefits and risks of each agreement to ensure that these agreements do not harm India's manufacturing sector or vulnerable sectors. Key rationale for caution: impact on farmers, their products, who will buy. Okay, our agricultural exports have also increased. Everyone wants their agricultural exports to increase. So the country or the bloc with which we are signing this free trade agreement, they also want their agricultural exports to increase to India. But what will be the impact of that? Will we go for buying those cheap imported products, or will we go for buying a bit of expensive domestically grown products? Obviously, the cheaper ones will be preferred. And Indians love that tag of import also. So that is also there. Impact on MSMEs. The same goes for MSMEs. Who will buy their products? So here we have to be cautious. Past experiences with FTAs. So we have had past experiences like this ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. The experience, the overall trade has increased. In this context, it is good. But yes, dumping. China is dumping its goods via ASEAN countries into India. That is something which is bad, and we are, negotiating for reviewing this particular agreement with ASEAN countries. Negotiations are going on. Trade deficit has widened with these countries or with this particular bloc. So he said that keeping into account these past experiences, we are dealing with the matter. The Modi government is cautious on signing FTAs with many countries. We are learning from all the FTAs which are there, and then we are implementing the, I would say, learnings in signing new FTAs. And we are particularly cautious about these two categories, the farmers and the MSMEs in the country. Complexities in free trade agreements with EU and UK. EU and UK, we are negotiating a free trade agreement since long. So EU, to we are negotiating since 2005. It's been long. And there are some trade issues which are there. There are some non-trade issues as well. Non-trade issues like intellectual property rights, environmental standards, and labor rights, because these also get aligned when you are signing the free trade agreements. Trade issues are like, EU is wanting us to lower the tariffs in the wines and spirits market. EU has got expertise on that, and we don't want to do that because that can lead to flooding of Indian markets by European wines. Second, wine consumption can be on the rise in the country, which, socially is something which we are running away from right now. Balancing Act, Jaishankar emphasized the need for India to balance opening up markets to international competition with protection of its own domestic sectors. So, however, with the European Free Trade Association, this year we have signed the free trade agreement in March. But EU and UK, they are pending since long. But yes, negotiations are going on. Let's see what will happen. He also talked about India's post-COVID recovery. So India managed this COVID-19 pandemic situation in context of economy pretty well. There was initial skepticism about India's management of its economy, but yes, with some proactive steps taken by the government, some benefits like getting access to cheaper oil from Russia, all these things were there, which led to you know which led the growth on. But the other regions like Europe and all, they were struggling because their energy demand was disrupted, or their energy supply was disrupted, I would say. But yes, this did not happen in case of India. India's growing global influence. India is the world's fastest growing economy. India is the world's largest population. If I talk about country-wise population, so huge demand, domestic demand is here, and that is why many countries all across the world are eyeing Indian market, and that is why India's demand is increasing at the global stage. And India has positioned itself as strategically also, because India's technological prowess is also increasing. Chandrayaan 3, we can see. Apart from it, India's digital public infrastructure is getting robust day by day. Efficiency is increasing, transparency is increasing, accountability of in governance is increasing. Policies are good in favor of the businesses. So things are happening, things are moving forward. And that is why our global influence is increasing. Now, the last piece of news, that is Dinga virus. So this is a mysterious illness locally referred to as Dinga and has caused widespread panic in Uganda, affecting women and girls only as of now in the Bundibugyo district of Uganda. More than 300 people have been affected. Severe shaking and fever are the key symptoms. Apart from these two symptoms, cold, sneezing, headache are also the symptoms of this particular mysterious disease. Overview: it is reported in Bundibugyo district, located in the western Uganda. Around 300 people as of now have been affected, and mostly women and girls. These are symptoms. The illness is primarily marked by fever and severe body shaking, which impairs mobility and disrupts daily life. Symptoms, as I told you: fever, headache, cough and runny nose, body aches, excessive shaking, uncontrollable shaking is happening. So, however, these kind of symptoms were witnessed in other kind of virus attacks also. But yes, this is something unique. The current treatment and response: antibiotic treatment is being given to them, and how effective they are, we cannot say as of now. Recovery time: if I talk about the recovery time, the disease is generally self-limiting, means with time it limits itself, with most patients recovering within 1 week of treatment. No deaths as of now have been reported as a result of the illness. So this is something which is good and is a positive sign. Investigation and diagnostic challenges: samples are sent for analysis, but you know analysis is still being done. No official statement has been issued by the government or by the health department of government of Uganda as of now. And people are also comparing it to the dancing plague, which impacted Paris, France, and particularly Strasbourg in France was impacted. Not Paris, but Strasbourg. So people went into uncontrollable dancing. So uncontrollable shaking of the body is being linked with the dancing plague. And some of the people, they died due to exhaustion while dancing, and some of them recovered. But that was all involuntary. So that is why they are equating with this. Pending lab results: investigations are ongoing to determine if the illness is related to any respiratory pathogens such as influenza, COVID-19, malaria, or measles. However, precise pathogen responsible for this condition is unknown as of now. Let us see what happens. WHO's report: the wider impact. According to the World Health Organization, the Panzi Health Zone has reported 394 cases with 30 fatalities linked to similar symptoms in the region. A local outbreak. Currently, no cases have been reported outside Bundibugyo district and is not clear whether the disease is spreading to other regions of Uganda or neighboring countries as of now or not. So, WHO is of this particular opinion as of now. Government and community response. The Ugandan Ministry of Health has stepped up its efforts to investigate the illness. Investigation will, lead to a lot of answers, but yes, the results are yet to come. Government is working closely with health organizations, including the WHO, to gather more data and determine exact cause. And health teams are on the ground offering treatment and educating the local population of the importance of seeking medical care, designated health facilities, staying indoors, herbal treatments, and such like precautionary measures are also being taken, like uh, you know um, some traditional, I would say, herb, like you can consume kala and all these things are being talked about. Going out less, the same thing which was there during COVID. So these kind of precautionary measures are being undertaken. Now the MCQs based on these topics. So which organization releases the Indian State of Forest report? Very simple, direct question. I'm not reading the options also. You should be able to answer it. Second, which of the following trends have been witnessed in the Indian State of Forest Report 2023? First, the tree cover has reduced from the previous assessment. The carbon stock has increased from the previous assessment. Madhya Pradesh is the state with the largest tree cover. Which of these statements is are true? I hope this is also simple. Third, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Free trade agreement aims to make international trade cheaper by making tariffs absolutely zero. Free trade agreements can lead to dumping. So, find the correct combination. With which of the countries or blocs India has not signed a free trade agreement? ASEAN, Sri Lanka, EU, or European Free Trade Association? Fifth, recently which African country has been impacted by the Dunga virus? Ethiopia, Tanzania, Sudan, or Uganda? Now, yesterday's MCQs. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The CCTNS was conceived in the aftermath of 26/11 attacks. Yes. 2009, funding was also allocated for it, 2,000 crore rupees by the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs. It aims to digitalize and centralize the police records. Yes, this is also true. So both 1 and 2 are the correct options. Which of these functions will be performed by the CCTNS? Registering of all FIRs? Yes, all FIRs will be registered over here. Integration with justice delivery? Yes, justice courts and all are also integrated over here. Citizen tracking complaints. Citizens are also allowed to track complaints. This will increase the accountability of the police forces. So all three are there. All of the above is the correct answer. Third, consider the following statements and mark the correct ones. Birch trees are evergreen trees found in the upper reaches of Himalayas. So see, birch trees are found in the upper reaches of the Himalayas. That is true. But they are not evergreen trees. They are deciduous trees. So hence this statement is wrong. Fir trees are found in the lower reaches of Himalayas. That is true. But they are not deciduous trees. They are evergreen trees. So which makes this statement also wrong. So neither one nor two is the correct answer. Fourth, which of these statements with respect to the Eastern Maritime Corridor is are true? The Eastern Maritime Corridor is more than 3,000 nautical miles shorter than the older route. Yes, 3,000 something nautical miles shorter than the older route it is. EMC passes through the Suez Canal? No. Suez Canal is in the older route. EMC passes through the Strait of Malacca. This statement is wrong and hence only one is going to be the correct option for this question. So, with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you after Christmas now. Merry Christmas to all of you and your family members. And I will be dealing with more such important news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Enjoy your Christmas also. Namaste. Jai Hind.